Welcome back to the Delaware Way. This is Larry Menti. I'm with Maryann Kenville-Moore, who is the Director of Policy at the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and also Karen K. Derasmo, the Executive Director to Prevent Child Abuse in Delaware. And we were talking, for the most part, about the Adrian Peterson case and child abuse. But I wanted to move on to the Ray Rice case, because you had mentioned they're definitely connected, spousal abuse and child abuse. Specifically with the Ray Rice case, I want to ask the same question about the Adrian Peterson story. When the Ray Rice story first came out, it was almost a ho-hum about it. He got a 2-game suspension. There wasn't the public outcry that there was until the video came out and everybody saw it. And then it became very real and people got involved. And just like we were talking about the Adrian Peterson case, all of a sudden spousal abuse was in the forefront. Mm-hmm. People were shocked when they saw the video. Same question, were you shocked?
I have to say the punch wasn't as much of a shock to me as it was the behavior afterwards with the disregard of Janae's body. But the incidence of domestic violence, we know, again, is very high. 1 in 4 women in their lifetime will experience intimate partner violence in relationships. So we know that many people experience this. The shocking part is that it was caught on video.
When there is spousal abuse, does that normally mean there's going to be a violent relationship throughout the family?
It can. I think the most recent statistics that I have seen from the research indicate that between 30 and 60% of families where intimate partner violence is occurring, that there also is child abuse occurring in that home. Maryann talked about respect, and if there is a lack of respect for the people within the home, that often translates to abuse, violence. Those are the kinds of things that can come from that mindset.
You talked about child abuse and how it's underreported and the fact that many times children are too afraid. Is it the same with domestic abuse? Is it also underreported? And probably for a different reason, because they have the ability to get to the authorities. What would be the reason that a woman or a man would not report it?
I think there's still enormous stigma around these types of relationships. I was recently talking to a group of counselors and they asked me a question about, how does faith play into this? And we still have individuals preaching in our synagogues and in our churches, pray and stay. A woman's place is to make sure that these relationships work. So there are many messages that people get in addition to perhaps fear and the threats that might be underlying some of the behavior. Now, with child abuse, the fear might be that if I leave this relationship, if I go to authorities, I might be held responsible. I might lose my children. The individual who's been abusing me may now have sole access to the children, and I won't be there to be able to keep them safe or protect them. I might not have the economic resources to really manage these things. So I make decisions that I think are the best interest of my children and myself, while others might be thinking that they're not the best decisions to make.
I want to get some phone numbers out, because I know that there are people who are watching this show just because of the pure numbers that are experiencing domestic violence, child abuse in their homes. So if you could take the time just to give out the phone numbers for people to contact you, Karen.
Sure. Prevent Child Abuse Delaware can be reached toll-free at 866-925-7223.
And specifically, what is that phone number for?
They can call us if they have questions about whether or not a certain type of behavior is abusive, for example. But what we'd really like people to do is call us so that they can get resources if they're having some questions about their own ability to parent, so that we can help them to become the best parent that they can be.
And the number for your organization?
I would actually suggest that I give you the number for Child Incorporated. They run a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week hotline. It's a local number at 302-762-6110. But for those listeners who might be outside of this area, I could also provide a national number. That's 1-800-799-7233.
Great. Thank you so much, Maryann and Karen. I know that I know from the numbers there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with abuse and violence in the family. I hope they call the numbers. You're doing wonderful work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Len.
We'll be back right after this.